there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Canadian Bowler Show. I'm Mike Patuli. I'm here with Daryl Fitzgerald today. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm good, Mike. How are you doing?
Oh, not too bad. It's getting into fall here in Saskatchewan, so definitely getting cooler and putting everything away temperature-wise.
I've got my Halloween shirt on. All the famous Halloween killers from movies playing poker.
Yeah, I guess we're a week to, I think it's a week tomorrow, or yesterday, it's Halloween, so we're pretty much right in there. So yeah, we got the Halloween right around the corner. So yeah, wrapping up that year, getting just blazing through the year at this point.
Right.
I guess before we get going, just a reminder to like, comment, subscribe to the channel here. If you like any of our bowls content, we got lots of information about bowls, lots of videos about bowling here. So if you're able to just like, comment, subscribe on any of our videos here today. I guess before we sort of jump into it, a little preface, like we have a special guest here today. We have, David's going to be joining us here in a minute or so. Pretty much we're going to just be talking about mental health and bowls and how it's sort of, I guess, been a major impact for all of us in our lives in general, just bowling in general. So I guess without any further ado, do you want to bring him in? There's the man.
There he is.
So David Koert, how's it going today?
Wonderful. Yeah, things are going great, and really happy to be on the show. Yeah, great job, Daryl, on those technical delivery and stance and stuff. I really enjoyed those videos, so I encourage everyone, like Michael just said, to watch those and leave some comments.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. We always like the feedback.
Yeah, any sort of likes, comments are great for us because we love to engage with the people. And if you do have questions, Daryl and me are both fairly active in the YouTube there, so we're able to respond to mostly anything that you do ask question-wise. So I guess before we sort of jump into your story, we're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker here, reviving something Luke used to do earlier in the show. It's sort of some rapid-fire questions just to get some information out of Dave here. So what type of bowls do you use, Dave?
I've got two sets of bowls. This year I was using Taylor Aces. The first 3 years I had Taylor Internationals.
Okay. Towel or no towel?
Towel.
Long or short jack?
Long.
Long jack. Water or Gatorade?
Water.
Hat or no hat?
Hat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen some fedora pictures. Looks like you've got a pretty good hat game. So I pretty much knew that answer. What type of bowls shoes do you use?
Last two pairs have been Puma.
Puma, perfect. Who's more important to a team, the skip or the lead?
Lead.
Good answer.
Okay, best club that you've ever played at?
That's a tough one. I played at so many wonderful clubs, but I'm going to go with St. Mary's.
Perfect.
Solid choice.
Who's better, Mahomes or Kels?
Jeez. I'm going to say Kelsey at this point, just because he's already put up a little bit more numbers and it seems like he's smashing all the records. I think Mahomes is going to do the same, so pretty tough.
Perfect. And what's more important in your life, Lego or art?
I'm going to have to go with Lego because it is kind of art.
Perfect.
Great answer.
Okay, so sort of an icebreaker there. Just wanted to get some fun answers out of Dave, get to know him a little bit before he jumps into his story, but we'll just let you go right into it. So floor is yours, David.
Awesome. Yeah, my name is David Koert. I'm 46 years old. Yeah, I live in Stratford, Ontario. Lived all around southwestern Ontario, but lived out west for a couple years in Fernie, British Columbia. But yeah, I'm back in Stratford, and yeah. I guess just a little bit about me to qualify for my mental health journey. Had some trauma in my life. It started with childbirth. I had a traumatic childbirth. Apparently it was really long and they had to kind of yank me out. And I don't know, in the 70s, there wasn't the kind of same technology maybe or care. I don't know, whatever. But anyway, so my mom said right from the start, I kind of had a traumatic right from the get-go. And then I had some abuse in my childhood, all the different kinds, I guess, that you can imagine, verbal, mental, sexual, physical. So, yeah, that's from about 5 years old or so till maybe 8 or so, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to remember exactly, but anyways, had that. And I've also had a few near-death experiences in my life. Living on the farm, things can be pretty dangerous. So once on the farm, we had kind of a scare, and I was in a pretty serious car accident as well. Maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago, I guess now. So a few traumatic experiences that have kind of led to my mental health issues. Yeah, my parents got divorced, I guess, at a young age. And moving to a new city from the country was, another experience that led to some stuff. Anyway, I grew up in Stratford and had a pretty normal through my teens and 20s. Into my 30s, I worked in St. Mary's at the Westover Inn as a chef for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. Yeah, I did that right out of college. And I don't know, I've done a number of things. I framed houses for a couple of years. Yeah, I worked for Pook doing traveling sales all over Canada. That was a great job. Yeah, things were pretty normal for me. I kind of swept a lot of that stuff under the rug, and I don't know, especially in the kitchen, it's kind of a rock and roll lifestyle, so you're partying every night. And I guess that leads into the next thing where I kind of developed a problem with lots of substances, and particularly alcohol. And I guess I would use that as a coping mechanism to try to fit in. I have a lot of social anxiety. Have difficulty in crowds or meeting new people. I'm really shy. And alcohol definitely loosens your inhibitions. And yeah, I kind of toured all around southwestern Ontario, visiting my friends at universities and partying all through my 20s, basically. And it wasn't too bad. I was binge drinking, but wasn't drinking at work or in the morning or anything like that. But into my 30s and 40s, that started becoming a huge problem. Yeah, I guess the party's kind of over and, you're 30 or 40 and most of my friends had moved on in life and had kids and a family and stuff. And here I was still partying with 20 and 30-year-olds. Yeah. So struggled with that for a long time. In 2012, I had a rare form of cancer also. Had surgery for that. And things are going well with that. I go back for tests every year and they just took out the parts that were infected with tumor. So, like I said, it was a rare form. I didn't have to do chemo or anything like that. But another thing that just contributes to your mental well-being. So yes. So that was 2012. And that was kind of, I think, the beginning of the end, I guess, or when things kind of took a struggle. I was running my own organic farm at that point, And I had to stop doing that because I had to have surgery and it was in summertime. So I basically had to take a year off or whatever. And I was kind of struggling at that point too. I wasn't making very much money doing it, and I was running 5 acres on my own. So it was a lot of work, and just struggled with the paperwork and a lot of things like that. So that was a failed business. So that kind of struggled with that a little bit too. Yeah. And I guess after that, maybe a couple of years, I was really struggling and I was in a dark place. And I don't know, a nice way to put it is I didn't really want to be here anymore. So I checked myself into the hospital about 8 years ago, and they kind of brushed it off, or I was just there for an hour or so, and the guy talked to me, and I don't know, I didn't really get connected with any groups or services or anything. He just kind of took my story, and I don't know, maybe I didn't explain myself well enough either, but anyway, I kind of got let go. And just continued to struggle for a few years. Then, after an attempt, the next morning I checked myself into the hospital, and that time I stayed for 5 days. And that's when I got connected with some help finally. This is 5 or 6 years ago now. I had only 2 people to come visit me the whole time that I was there. My sister came to visit me, and she reached out to an old high school friend that had gotten sober, and he visited me as well. So I had some time to think, put things into perspective. There was some interesting people that I stayed with there. Not to say that I don't have it bad, but it seemed like other people were struggling a lot more than I was. So it makes you think, okay, maybe I don't have it so bad. So I guess that was a little bit of a turning point for me. And I got connected with an organization called Choices for Change here in Stratford. They run out of Huron and Perth County. And they are just an amazing organization. They help with all kinds of substance abuse and even like with internet addictions, weight loss, like if you have an eating disorder, all sorts of stuff. And they do harm reduction as well. So I did that for a little while, but I fell back into heavy using again. And 4 years ago, I, through the help with Choices for Change, I went to rehab in St. Michael's Homes in Toronto for 2 months. Really did well there. Within, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks, I got promoted to the leader of the house. So I was in charge of a lot of things, and a lot of the guys look up to me. So, that was life-changing experience for the longest time. I always kind of had the mantra of the Amy Winehouse song. I said no to rehab. I didn't want to go. I was just in denial. And it was also a trauma-based rehab. My counselor at Choices selected one that they work on the root of the problem, I guess. Like there was a lot of work on past trauma issues. Wasn't just quitting drinking and going to AA or whatever. It was healing past wounds, and we did a lot of work on stuff like that, and how to move forward. That was really good. And so I've just been with Choices for Change. They have a number of groups. They have a leisure group where we do like bowling, or we do axe throwing, just different fun activities to do once a week. And then they have right now like an online, it's called Shared Experience, where we just meet up and you talk about how your week's going. And there's a counselor that usually has a topic for the week or has a thought, or, leads the group. So been attending those groups for quite a while. And about 3 years ago, I started, I've tried lots of different groups and things. I've taken Mind Over Mood, which is a 10-week course. I've taken DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy. I've taken a number of CBT courses, cognitive behavioral therapy. And they were just okay. Some of them I got some stuff out of, but anyway, I joined with PTSD Truth Behind the Smile, which a former firefighter, Jean-Guy Poirier, started here in Stratford. And we were at the start. I think we maybe were getting about 12 people out. It was mostly females. I think I was one of the only guys other than Jean-Guy. Just a lot of different trauma survivors from all different backgrounds. Not just open to first responders and veterans, which most people associate PTSD with. Some people have gone through some horrible things in that group. So we're all use each other to heal, and it's been a really good support group. And I do Facebook Live every week for the past 2 years or so. That's a great outlet. I find the more I talk about it, the more normalized it gets and the more I can take ownership of it. And I don't know, helping people helps me, I guess. I've had a number of people that have reached out to me and said that I've really helped them with my story or different tips and techniques that I provide. So I guess that's mostly my life story. I guess you guys probably have some bowls questions, and I've got a few other things we can talk about later, but I'll turn the floor over if you guys have some questions or whatever you guys want to talk about.
Well, yeah, thanks for sharing your story. That's quite a story to get out there, and as you say, like getting the dialogue started or talking about it normalizes it or allows people to actually see that there are other people out there that do have mental health problems, and that talking about it really allows people to sort of open up or get their stories out there potentially too, and have them be more comfortable with sharing their stories. So thanks for sharing there today. But yeah, I guess we are wanting to get sort of the bowls side of things here, because I know bowls is part of sort of your recovery process, or part of the, I guess, when you've got into recovery and you got into bowls sort of around that same time that you kind of went through this change in your life. So how long have you been bowling?
I started, I think, at the very tail end of 2016. I tried it out maybe like 2 times at the end of the season in September, but my card says 2017.
Okay, and then which club?
I joined in Stratford at the old green. And that same year, I also reached out to the West Toronto Lawn Bowling Club. And while I was in rehab, I also bowled at the West Toronto Lawn Bowling Club. It was really close to where I was, just a subway away. And I bowled there like 5 times too.
So what has bowls meant to you as far as, you found it, you started playing, and what has it done for you as far as just keeping you active and your recovery?
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of other people, it was a really cool location down by the Stratford. It was right by the river. So it was a lot of foot traffic, and I would stop by and I was watch those guys doing that and girls. I don't know. I've always been into sports, but I was pretty out of shape at that point. But yeah, that was right when I was getting sober and getting ready, and I asked if I could try it out. And they're so welcoming. That's the first and foremost thing I find in bowls, is it's so inclusive and welcoming, and It's easily accessible. Like they're more, oh yeah, come on, try it out, no problem. So for people that are shy or nervous to try out new things or whatever, it's really nice that people are so welcoming. Yeah, and for me, it's a really awesome distraction. Bowls is great too. You can take it as seriously or as lightly as you want. Like you can just bowl casually and have a good time and socialize. That's great. I caught the bug pretty quickly. I really got interested and I'm really competitive. So I was really lucky that I had Glenn Keane take me out to tournaments right from the start. I maybe bowled 2 or 3 times and he was already taking me to some tournaments. So that was great. Really met some awesome people. And at that point, I went on ODSP 3 years ago, I guess, 4 years ago. So I had some time off from working too. So I was able to, like, I think at my height, I was going to like around 50 or 60 tournaments every summer in Southwestern Ontario, basically. A lot of District 4, District 7, and wherever. So really enjoyed doing that, seeing the different clubs and meeting the different people. And I don't know, it's cool when you look back on it now. I know those people from bowling in the Canadians and the provincial championships, but I don't know. I just remember even Everett Zwires, talking to him. He was one of the first people I met. And at the old Fairmont Club in London, it's so overgrown now, which is unfortunate. But I drive by there and have fond memories of going to, I think my first tournament was there. Yeah, and we got the consolation prize for 1 game high. So, yeah, bowls has meant so much to me. Yeah, and although there is people can get a beer or whatever, I find that nobody really drinks to excess in lawn bowling. It doesn't seem like it anyways. There might be the odd outlier once in a while, but it's relatively free from drugs and alcohol. So it's really good for me personally that it's a good outlet from that. And there seems, I don't know, the stigma still remains that lawn bowling's an older person's sport, but there's a lot of great mentors out there that I've met. Like I mentioned, Glenn was one of them. He's a former principal at a school. He was just an awesome guy to travel with and talk with on the way to the tournaments. And Dave Ducklau was another one that he was sober for a number of years. And he was another really good influence. He set me straight a few times when I don't know, had poor etiquette maybe or whatever. He was always quick to do that, but he was a great guy nonetheless. Yeah, and Larry McClellan at St. Mary's too has been another really great influence. He's been there for 50 years, I think, or longer. But just another great guy. That's another great influence for me personally. Yeah, I don't know. And it's really an expensive sport. Like you can put as much into it as you want, but to get started, you really just don't really need much. A pair of flat-soled shoes, and they'll loan you a pair of bowls. If you get into it, it can get a little expensive, I guess, if you're buying brand new bowls, but it's worth it for me. They paid for themselves lots. So, yeah. I don't know. I've got a few other points, but any other questions or whatever? I don't know if that answered that one.
You kind of touch a few different things that we were asking about, so definitely good information. I guess the one part I wanted to sort of touch on is, I guess you talked about bowls being a distraction, and you also talked about therapies that you've sort of undergone. I know some people refer to bowls as a therapeutic. So do you see bowls as a type of therapy?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned, distraction, and I have like when you have some trauma or whatever, sometimes your mind can go to some dark places. But when you're out there bowling, you're out in the outdoors, fresh air. I just focus on each shot, one shot at a time. That's what I try to do. And yeah, like the strategy of it it's like doing Sudoku or crossword puzzles or whatever. It's good for your mind to work with strategy. Yeah, you're playing with a teammate, so it's kind of cool that you're strategizing with somebody else and you're cheering them on, and I've bowled with just some unbelievable people that have really helped me along. And it's like a sense of belonging too, like you're part of something, and it's kind of like Lego in a sense, where it's kind of a geeky, or I don't know, it's not the cool thing, I guess. Maybe I think it's cool, but a lot of people have that stigma that it's maybe not cool, I guess. But it's really cool. And like when you go to the tournaments, everyone's so welcoming and you feel like you belong and you're part of something. That's awesome, I think. So yeah.
So you mentioned in your story leading up to this that when things are going bad, there was only a few people that came around to see you and support you. How has and I guess because I guess Mike and I are pretty introverted and like our alone time, how has the bowling community supported you and included you? I know I see you with going to tournaments with a ton of great people, people that I've met in my lifetime through bowls. What has that community meant for you as far as getting to know people and getting out there and meeting new people?
Yeah, like, not sure how to quite answer this one. I don't know. Another example, like we were just at the novice Aussie Pairs Championship about a month ago or 2 months ago. And we were kind of hoping to win or do a little better than we did. We lost in the playoffs on the first game. But anyway, I think we put a little bit too much pressure on ourselves and maybe didn't have as much fun. And Troitcha and Mike Wagner reached out to me and were really welcoming. They saw me that I was struggling, and they were really consoling me almost. So that was really thoughtful of them. Yeah, like I guess pre-COVID too, there was always like coffee and muffins and stuff like that out at all the tournaments. So everyone would get together. I don't know. I always went there an hour early. I like to be early for things, and then you have some time to socialize. And yeah, there's just so many great people to look up to and are welcoming. And I don't know how else to put it. Really,
that's fair.
Yeah, no, bowls is a very welcoming sport, so it's good to hear that people have been inclusive with you and sort of, as you're saying, helping you out sort of along your journey, maybe with the etiquette, or after a tough loss, having some people sort of reach out to you and sort of help you out with that process, especially if you're a newer bowler. You do touch on it, the like OLBA's novice program. So I'm from Saskatchewan, so I'm not completely familiar with it. So what is the novice program in Ontario? Like, can you give me a bit of a background on that? And then do you like that program? Like, was it something that you enjoyed over your time in it?
Yeah, absolutely. They've altered the format a little bit. There was always, I think, the novice singles, which you have to win your club first. Then you have to win your district. Then you go to the final 16, the provincials. So yeah, again, I had really heartbreaking loss. The last time we had the singles, I guess, was in 2019, maybe. Kind of blew that game too, but you learn something from every game, really. But yeah, I really enjoyed the novice singles competition. And then the first year I went in with the St. Mary's guys, and we went in the novice triples in Sarnia. And yeah, we lost in a playoff to the eventual champions from Heritage, Jason Bierling. And that was a good one. But then they did away with the trebles. Then COVID hit, and then they didn't have anything for a couple of years. Then last year, or just this year, they had a new format, which is going to be a preview of for next year, where they're doing a combo fours. So I think the team is made up of 2 men and 2 women, and they're playing, I think there'll be like a singles and a triples and maybe 2 pairs, and they'll do a variety of formats. So we did an Aussie pairs, like I said, about 2 months ago, sort of as they called it the Back to Bowls program. I also participated in the mixed pairs for the Back to Bowls event. Yeah, and what else for the novice? I think that's about it.
So, with your show that you do every once in a while on Facebook, you've said that when you started out, there was a number of people that watched, and your audience has kind of slowly grown. I've watched a few episodes, and I think it's fantastic. Kind of like we do the show here. It's to get the word out on bowls. You trying to get the word out on mental illness and break the stigma on that. How has that gone for you for reaching your goal of trying to not only talk about what you've gone through, but to reach out to other people?
Yeah, I think it's really helped me in my confidence. That was another thing I had with that bowls helps with is, when you make a good shot, you feel good about yourself. And it's kind of like golf. I think even if you make one long putt or you get a birdie or something like lawn bowls, you just need that 1 or 2 awesome shots every time you go out, and that keeps you coming back, but it gives you confidence and self-esteem. And my show has kind of done that. Give me I can speak a little bit better, I think, than I used to, and I'm not quite as shy as I used to be. I did a few live Facebook lives of my lawn bowling this year. I live broadcasted the finals of the novice Aussie pairs there, and I did the finals of the mixed pairs as well from Woodstock. So yeah, I really enjoy. I got a lot of awesome feedback from the lawn bowling podcast and had quite a few viewers. And yeah, I think I mentioned to you pre-show that just in the last couple of weeks, my Facebook Live show on mental health has been getting like 4,500 views every week. So it's really great that, I don't know, I just feel really proud that it's grown so well. So it makes me feel really good about myself. And just to get the word out there, like you said, and people reach out and said that I've helped them in some small way, or really means a lot to me. And helping others seems to help me. And yeah, I just have really enjoyed doing that, and feel like I've grown as a person since I've been doing that.
That's actually quite a good thing to hear, that it's sort of something that's grown and came along as you've put work into it. Like, we definitely can relate to that, because we've put a little work into this, and the channel's grown over time as well. So it's great when you do get your message out there and sort of reach the people you're wanting to sort of get your message across. I guess that kind of relates to the one question I had here. So a couple professional athletes recently, like Carey Price, Jonathan Drouin of Montreal Canadiens, they've come out with sort of mental health struggles that they've been having. So do you think mental health is going to become a more prevalent topic in sports because of these athletes sort of coming out talking about it?
Yeah, absolutely. In my journey, I've actually connected with a few former semi-pro and a couple of pro hockey players that have gone through some like similar stories to what Theo Fleury would be a more recognizable name, I guess. With the abuse and different things like that in minor hockey. So especially in Canada, I guess, since hockey's the number one sport, there seems to be a lot of stuff that happened. I'm the same age as a lot of those guys. So it was in the 70s and 80s or whatever when that kind of stuff it happened a lot more, I guess. So, yeah. And people are finally, I guess the stigma's kind of lifting, and like it's awesome that those professional athletes are speaking out about it. And like on Jean-Guy on our show just had Michael Landsberg on about a month ago, and he knows all the athletes, and he's another great storyteller and is a great advocate for mental health. So and the Olympic athletes, I think they speak out a lot about it and the pressures that they face, and being amateur athletes that they're not as well funded or whatever, right? Like and it's humbling for a guy like Carey Price to check himself in or whatever, and it's awesome that he's getting the help he needs and takes the time to step away. And you see more and more people doing that, just stepping away early from the game, and football too, I guess, with the concussions and stuff that can lead to a lot of mental health issues. So, it's great to see that the stigma is kind of lifting and so many athletes are speaking out. Claire Hughes is another one. I've seen her speak. Soken Laman, I've seen her speak. And their stories are just really inspiring too.
Yeah, I know growing up and watching sports and, looking up to people, maybe not even in sports, but just the people that I idolized growing up, you'd have no idea what they went through to get where they are. The grueling pace, the injuries, the pressure and stress from people around them, and then the stories of abuse that are just coming out now that you never would have known about if you weren't actually in that situation. I think it's amazing that people are coming out and talking about it, getting the help that they need, and especially for you, David, to come on here and just talk about your story and let people know that it's okay to talk about, and it's not something that you need to hide. There's plenty of people that are willing to help and listen and support you on your journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that's sort of the questions we'd prepared for you. Was there anything else that you sort of wanted to touch on here today, Dave?
Let me look at my list here. Yeah, and just again, like the social aspect of it is huge for me. Gets me out of my shell, and I don't know, I guess I seem to be a likable type of person, so I guess you get what you put out there. So I try to put mostly good out there, and I get mostly good back. And the lawn bowling community, like I said, has been so positive for me. Just love all the opportunities that's afforded me. Like I was on the board of directors here in Ontario for a 6-month stint. Somebody got sick, I think, or stepped down. So I stepped up to help out for 6 months. And That was another great experience in lawn bowls to see how the inner workings a little bit of it. And that was pretty early on in my lawn bowling career. I'd only been lawn bowling for a year and a half or so, but I just wanted to give back and try to help out however I could. Throughout the community and on my show, I try to promote lawn bowls as much as I can. It's been such an important part of my recovery. I've got Lego, art, lawn bowls are kind of the big three that have really gotten me through. They're all unique in their own ways, but lawn bowling definitely has been such an important part of my mental health journey.
I can say to anybody out there that likes Lego, art, or lawn bowls, or all three, or even a combination, David is definitely a person to talk to. His Facebook is littered with posts about art and Lego and lawn bowls, and I think he squeezed some Kansas City stuff in there as well. So it's great to have you on here, David. I think you are a great inspiration to a lot of people, and we were really happy to give you the platform to get your story out there to another audience, and hopefully you get a lot of great positive feedback from this, and your show continues to inspire people.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate it. And appreciate any feedback or comments. More than willing to help, or if anyone wants to chat about mental health, just hit me up on Facebook, on Messenger. My name's right there, David Koert. I think I'm the only one. There's a guy in Utah with a similar name, but I haven't seen his profile lately. I'm here anytime to talk if anyone wants to, and just thank you guys for doing the show. Really appreciate it. It gives me I listen to a lot of podcasts. I also suffer from tinnitus, so I have a hard time falling asleep because of ringing in my ears. So I listen to podcasts to fall asleep. So, your guys are on my regular rotation, along with Bill Burr and Keith and the girls. So, keep up the good work.
Thanks for coming on, David.
No problem. Have a good day.
Oh, yeah, so that was quite the story, but it was something I felt we really needed to get out there, sort of have a bit of a change up on our regular show, because it is an important message, and I think we're approaching Movember, or whatever we want to call it, where it's sort of that mental health becomes kind of to the forefront, where you see lots of men growing mustaches and things like that.
I'm really glad we got him on here. He's been such a great person to have in the community. He's in my area, so Stratford is very, very close to where I live in Waterloo. I see David on a regular basis. He's always out helping. He's trying to give back to the community, and I think his story of all the struggles that he's gone through, which I don't know if even the people that he talks to knows everything that he's gone through. I'm sure there's a ton more. His recovery back to where he is now, in a good spot, and using bowls as one of those outlets to keep his mental health up, to keep himself positive, to be part of a community that's inclusive, and that he feels that he belongs to. I think it was just a really important story to get out there, and I think that mental health story is really important overall.
Yeah, like on our YouTube page, you had posted some stuff in the community section there, where we're trying to get a bit of a dialogue started on that mental health, or just the health benefits of bowls in general, because obviously it's a sport, so we're out there doing some physical activity, so that's beneficial. But then Dave did sort of touch on those mental health aspects that are beneficial for lawn bowling, where you're strategizing, you're sort of keeping yourself involved, teamwork, everything like that. So there's lots of different health benefits, and we know I know I personally have seen lots of other benefits from bowling too, with like friendship and support I get from a lot of my friends, because you and Luke live in Waterloo and Peterborough, Ontario, and I live in Regina, Saskatchewan. So it's like, what are the odds that I would randomly have these two close friends from Ontario if it wasn't for a sport like lawn bowling, where we live half a country apart from one another, but we talk pretty much daily and we support each other pretty well, I think. And I just love having that relationship with you guys.
I think that's an important part. For me, I'm an extreme introvert. I'd be happy to just do things on my own, go out, play sports on my own if I could, game, which is another thing that I love to do. There's a lot of stuff that would just keep me away from people. I struggle with public speaking, so things like this show, my role as a coach in bowls, which has been probably the highest point of my bowling career, just means so much to me. I don't know where I'd be without it. I don't know if I'd be able to communicate as well with everybody else around me if I didn't have these kind of outlets to work on it and to get out of my comfort zone, and the friends that I've met. Like you said, I've got friends coast to coast and all around the world because of bowls, and I don't know if I'd have that in any other capacity if it wasn't for this sport.
Yeah, like there's no understating how important I think bowls has been for the friendships and just the general developing me as a person, because same as you, I'm very introverted, don't like to really have to go out or do things if I don't have to. So it's kind of made me branch out. I'm a little more personable because I've had to do this show, and I've had to meet people and sort of go out over my bowls career. So it's a sport that really does give back to you. It's big bonding thing for my family and me, because obviously essentially my whole family bowls, and it's a good sort of outlet for us to go and once or twice a week during the peak of the summer go play a game against each other or just talk about it. It's a great sport and something that I know it's going to be part of our life for years to come.
So everybody out there, we have put a lot of links to mental health resources in the description below. If you are struggling, if you feel that you need support and you can't find it, reach out to some of those links below. Reach out to friends, reach out to family. It's really important that you seek the help that you need, that you identify any issues that you are having, and don't be afraid. Like we said here, David came on and shared his story. We saw David James Smith do a really important interview with Bowls Canada. Go check that out if you can on the Bowls Canada Facebook page. Mental health struggles are out there. There's people that are going through stuff that you don't know. So, be friendly, be kind, reach out to people, see how they're doing. And if you are struggling, try to find those resources to help you out.
Yeah, no, can't say it any better. Yes, do we want to move on to our fun topic of conversation that's
Sure.
Not related to the interview, I guess?
Sure.
So my deep diving of the internet there, I've been kind of seeing rumblings that it sounds like the Nationals are going to be in Burlington, Ontario again this year. So it sounds like they've stepped up. Bowls Canada put out that notice of looking for essentially a host for Nationals, and it sounds like nothing's official. There's no official release or anything, but from what I've kind of gathered on a few different sites, it looks like it might be Burlington, Ontario again. So what are your thoughts on that, Daryl?
I guess I've got to get a breaking news graphic for this. So if you do find some of these rumors and nothing's official, I can put it up there. But I don't know if I'm overly surprised. I think Burlington is one of the places that can definitely host. They did it in 2019 with the pairs and the fours. I think they could easily do both sides back to back. They know the benefits because they did it recently. I think I think they're really smart to do it. They've done it. They have the expertise. They have all this new infrastructure that they got through hosting it the first time, or hosting half of it the first time. And I think they're going to make a lot of money for their club this time around. And I think it's going to be just another beneficial year for them, where other clubs are missing out on taking it on.
Yeah, like you say that they've probably got the infrastructure in place. I know my home club, Regina, we hosted the Nationals in like 2003 or 2004, and it was part of our rotation. And then on the club that was supposed to host it, I think it was the year following or 2 years later, they defaulted and they couldn't do it. So then Regina took it again. So we hosted twice in 2 years or 3 years. And I remember that was, as you say, the infrastructure's in place. We knew what we needed to do, what had to happen, and it was very straightforward for us once it's actually in place to host again. So it was a smart decision for us because I know our club saw a lot of changes, a lot of money came in, and I think, as you're saying, Burlington's probably going to get a bit of a financial gain from this, and I think it's going to be nice because I played at the last Nationals in Burlington and they did a great job. So hopefully I can qualify from Saskatchewan and be there again, but we never know. So no, it's good to hear that they did find somebody, and a club like Burlington hosting again is always great to hear.
It is sad that, I mean, that it is kind of telling when we've had rotations every year. We're trying to spread this across the country, and now we've got one club hosting it back to back. It definitely tells a story that nobody wanted to host, because I'm sure that trying to move it to another province or get that diversity in there would have been, a little more important than having the same club that did it well do it again, or the same province, let alone that. I think this is going to be a trend going forward. I think that the Canadians is not something that clubs are actively clamoring to take. I don't know if clubs quite understand what's involved and what they get out of it. And it doesn't have the same punch or the same meaning as I think it has in the past. And I think there's some work that needs to be done to actually get the Nationals back up to the level that I'm sure you and I want to see it at, where it's something that is massive. It's something that's fun. It's something that is really meaningful to those that are participating, and especially to those that win. It's supposed to be the pinnacle of our sport in Canada. But it doesn't feel that way. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but it just doesn't have that same, like, ooh, Canadians, like, bring it here.
Yeah, like I can relate to you there. It's a huge amount of work for a club to sign up to, and I think a lot of clubs are intimidated by the amount of work that's required to actually facilitate it and then get the volunteer base that you need to actually make it work well. So I do agree with you there that I think maybe Bulls Canada might have to work about marketing it better, maybe more clearly outlining what needs to happen, maybe supporting potentially, I think we've talked about it a couple of times on the podcast, maybe having like a person that comes in and directly helps or plans a portion of the Canadians for you. But again, I think it's just something that they're going to probably have to throw around, because if you're having this much trouble getting a club to even host at this point, I think it's going to be a continued issue. Like, I'll be the rebel rouser from Saskatchewan who doesn't live in Ontario and say, how is it fair that Ontario's hosting 2 years straight and that Ontario's getting the juniors and the senior or whatever in the same year? I can't really complain all that much, though, because I think there probably wasn't many, or if any, other people that applied to actually host it. So good on them for stepping up, because we need to have nationals, and I agree with you 100%. We need to really try and elevate the standard of it, or kind of bring its notoriety and sort of, I guess, focal point in the Canadian game, maybe try and make it more of a spectacle than it currently is.
Yeah, I think that's the key. It's kind of like it's the Canadians, it's the majors, it's our big sport. Well, I smack my mic in my gestures to make it big. It's but it doesn't have that feel. I my goal is always to get there. My goal is to win a gold medal. To be the Canadian champion. But unless I'm in there, people around me might not even know or care that it's on or watch anything on it. It would be nice to actually make it really important and really really a cool thing to see, that more people would want to see it and more people would want to see who wins and who's the Canadian champion and what's going on in Ontario or BC or whatever, and get some more promotion that way. It's unfortunate, but it's not something that's going to change overnight. So there's probably a lot of work behind the scenes that just needs to happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. And maybe I think me and you've talked in the background about this for multiple weeks now. Maybe we need to have an after dark conversation about the nationals and the direction and everything that needs to happen with it in the future.
Absolutely. I guess that's another thing is, while we're winding down in Canada, the show goes on. We'll be looking for news and special things that are going on. If you have news, if you have stuff coming out of your province, out of your club, send it our way. Put it in the comments, tweet at us, DM us, send us emails. We're more than happy to get the news from you guys. We're more than happy to promote stuff that's going on in every province across Canada, even in the world. We're here to promote bowls. And we're not here to pick and choose what we promote. We want to promote everything that's going on. We want to raise the profile of bowls in Canada and the world. And our ultimate goal is to get our audience bigger and bigger and bigger, get bowls out there, and make it more well-known. And we're slowly getting there. But guys, just reach out to us. Let us know you're out there. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, no, as the winter comes up here, we're definitely open to pretty much talking about bowls, promoting bowls wherever we can in the world. I say that because literally anywhere in the world, we're open to posting stories, getting some dialogue going about anywhere. I guess one last reminder, if we're gonna throw it out there, like, comment, subscribe on the video here today. We also will be available on all major podcast platforms, usually within the week of the show. So download us there, or you can check us out on YouTube. We'll probably be up there later today.
And one final thing. If you guys noticed, Mike's on Twitter and Instagram. So go check him out. I don't think he's posted anything yet. We're going to have to get him, on that social media blitz, but he's there. Check him out.
Yeah, they told me I needed to get social media because I'm too much of a boomer over here and not using all my social media that I can. So I went and signed up. So we're all set now.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, then I guess with that, may all your bowls be touchers.